Welcome to Creative Lee at the Lee Library. And this is a very special year for Creative Lee. This is our 25th consecutive year of showing local art. My name is Mary Philpott, and I'd like to take you on a tour of this exhibit. Our first item is Stockbridge at Christmas, which is a wood carving by David Cohen. David is a new exhibitor this year. This scene is hand-carved from a single piece of basswood. Only the trees and figures are glued on. David was inspired by Norman Rockwell's very familiar painting, and this is the result. Mary Polari's first piece in the show is this lovely bowl, which is hand-built and has a rose motif in the bottom. And this gives the piece its name, which is called Rose Bowl. Mary Polari's second piece is glazed in her favorite cobalt blue glaze. This piece, which was created on a wheel, is a small pitcher. The white effect at the top is created from a glaze called gunmetal, which gives some very interesting effects. The next piece is made by Jill Topham, and the piece is called Acorn Fairy and Her Granddaughter. Both of Jill's pieces in the show are created through needle felting wool. Jill loves to create needle felted gnomes, fairies, mice, mushrooms, and other small creatures found in nature. Her first piece is the very charming Acorn Fairy and Her Grandmother. Jill's second piece is Amanita muscaria toadstool, which is characterized by the spots on the cap, and in nature has some very poisonous mushrooms. Tracy Etheridge, a staff member of the library, created the pieces making up a collection of tatted, bookmark, and motifs. Tatting is a form of durable decorative lace making that uses knots and loops created with a shuttle or a needle to form chains and rings. The motifs are tiny pieces in various shapes, such as a heart, flowers, and butterfly, as you see here. Tracy's other piece is a felted snowy owl. Needle felting is a craft that uses specially designed notch needles to sculpt wool into shapes and designs. The notches on the needles tangle the wood fibers, causing them to interlock and form firm structures. This allows a person to create anything from simple 2D flat pieces to intricate 3D sculptures. And I created the next piece, and this is a vase, and it's called The Tides. And the glaze coming down the side of the vase reminds me of the tides that come along the ocean. And the next piece is a lamp, and it was created by Jeff Morse, who is a new exhibitor to Creative Lee. And this is a mushroom lamp with a carved out shade. Both the base of the lamp and the shade were made on the wheel and glazed in white glaze. And the next piece is another piece that I made, and it's a black vase. And I've used black matte glaze and a shiny black glaze, and these are also my favorite glazes. I like to do designs on the surface of the pieces, and which you can see on the sides of this piece. Jeff Morse's second piece is a dark mug. He glazed this with a dark black matte glaze at the top, and the bottom glaze a contrasting color, which lets the ridges show through. Jeff is new to pottery, so we have many more interesting pieces to look forward to seeing coming from him. Mario Calori, who has exhibited in Creative Lee for many years, has submitted two pieces to our exhibit. The first is titled Snow Patterns. This painting is an exaggeration of patches of snow on a field of hills. Mario's intention was to create a scene that demonstrates the principle of repetition and variation. Mario's second painting is called Breakdown. Mario is trying to dramatize the early stages of a breakdown. Beautiful plant life breaking down, the society tainted by the invasive forces of an authoritarian political control. Focusing the Lens is the title of our next piece created by Bruce Laird. Bruce paints in the pop style of art. Bruce's work is often characterized by bold colors. The center of the lens in this painting focuses on Floyd Bennett Field, an airfield in the Marine Park area of Brooklyn. Markings around the lens come from the Universal Sundial Compass, which has the months listed in the circle. This is a complex antique instrument. Bruce combines the contemporary with the ancient and makes it all come together and look new. The second piece by Bruce Laird is called Framed Frustration. This painting, also in bold, bright colors, is enclosed by tape measures on all sides. Unlike the first painting, where the colors are in distinct sections, this painting has the feeling of frustration, and the paint is put on in bold strokes. This is a mixed media piece. Rick Costello's first work is titled Within Us, Without Us. Rick's landscape includes the moon, the mountains, and the star-filled sky, with stars accurately positioned in the background. Listening for Life was painted by Rick Costello as well. Rick Costello is an astronomer and painter. He presents us with this painting with each star painted in its correct position. Rick has given talks on astronomy at the Lee Library and elsewhere in the Berkshires. Sue Hosford created the illuminated letter T using acrylics, ink, and watercolors. Sue is the vice president of the board of directors at the library. She participated in a 3-day workshop on illuminated lettering held at Sturbridge Village, and since then has been able to give many of these letters as gifts. The illuminated letters have lots of detail, and if you look at it carefully, you might be able to see the 2 figures at the ends of the T. And this T is for her grandson, Tashawn. We welcome Teresa Green, a new exhibitor for this year, who created the Scarecrow Fence. This charming piece is decorated perfectly for the fall season with corn, with scarecrow, and pumpkins. Elizabeth R. Cogswell has painted Sheep Under the Trees in acrylic on canvas. Elizabeth's work is very familiar in our area. She loves animals and nature scenes, and this is evident in this wonderful painting for all of us to enjoy. Elizabeth Cogswell's second painting is a sheep selfie, which captures all the details and especially the eyes in the face of this beautiful animal. The selfie is ready for a special place in someone's home or on the pages of a book. Mary Ann Fitzhugh painted Double Rainbow, No Nessie. Mary Ann is a member of the board of directors of the library. This painting in oil was inspired by a trip to Loch Ness, Scotland in March 2024. Leanie Angles, a returning artist, has created a painting in acrylics. This woodland scene with fluffy pink branches and trunks and branches bathed in shades of pink is titled Pink Martini. Leanie's second painting is a vase filled with blooms, and this is also done in acrylics. This is titled Bountiful Blooms. Leanie's paintings always provide scenes that are filled with joy and beauty. Barb Norton's dramatic painting is done in acrylics on canvas and is titled Feathers and Eyes. Barb has created these large, fierce-looking eyes and feathers created with tiny strokes of paint to create this great image of the owl. Our first piece of photography is Sharon McDonald's Sunburst Dahlia. Sharon captured this perfect dahlia with its layers of petals and shades of golds and peach. This has been an especially good year for growing this beautiful flower. Deb White's first item is this delicate collage simply called Autumn. The colored leaves are the focal point of the scene, and then you begin noticing the other leaves and detail of this artwork. The next item is an etching by Deb White. This is also a very touching scene called Eric and the Cow. When you study this drawing, you notice Eric's face and the feelings that he shows toward the cow and also the sense of sadness in the cow's face. This piece is created with very few lines, but it has those lines placed perfectly. Framing an Analogous World is an oil on canvas painted by Joan L. Davidson. This painting has a story, and here it is. Joan's grandson was interested in a large wood fish sculpture holding a tray that was in an antique store. Joan was concerned that he would buy this for his room, so she offered to create a painting that included the sculpture. Joan visited an aquarium and photographed the fish and all their movements. Painted on the tray is a crowded New York City street, an analogous world that simulates the fish and their movements. And now we go to David Cohen's second piece in the show, and it's this dramatic photo of the sunrise on Goose Pond. Sunrise is always a special time on the lake, and in this photo, the streak of sunlight is hitting the edge of the pond, and the shadows of the hills are reflected on the lake. The next two paintings are done in acrylics by Sandra Hayes, who is also a member of the board of directors. The first is titled Cosmos Beauties, and the second is called Cosmos Splendor. Sandy used black and white to create a dramatic background and highlight the details of these flowers. This next painting is by Barb Norton. Serene Sunrise is another painting that provides a spectacular view of a sunrise on a lake and uses only a few colors to create drama. The single deer is the focal point of this beautiful scene. Mary Healy's first painting in this show is titled Bloom and is done in acrylics. This bright, bold flower, probably a dahlia, easily captures the attention of the viewer. The second painting by Joan L. Davidson is titled A Conversation. In this oil painting, Joan has captured a serious conversation between these two young men over lunch. In the background, it appears that these boys are surrounded by Joan's paintings. Marianne Fitzhugh's second painting is a watercolor of this beautiful display of pink and white amaryllis blossoms. This painting was inspired by her visit to Namkeg at Christmas and is titled Mary Amaryllis. Marianne always puts a lot of thought into the titles of her paintings. Diane Westpizer has created another improvisational composition using commercial fabric. She titled her piece Playing with Right Angles. Diane does a great job in her use of these bold colored fabrics and her quilting, which is all angles. This combination of fabric and quilting results in this fabulous piece. Amy Shermer, a new exhibitor, painted Into the Abyss using oils. This is an intriguing scene done in dark, rich colors, which leads the viewer into the depths of this painting. Sharon DeLorme, a member of our board of directors, painted Finn and the Flower in oils. The little boy takes center stage in this painting against the dark shadows from the interior of the building. Although the flowers are so delicate, the little boy is drawn to them and draws us to them as well. Myron Hood has created this wood-turned pine cone pedestal. The pedestal is made of turned cherry with pyro finish. This is a wonderful piece, perfect on any mantle, and certainly perfect for the pine cone candle. Linda Novick is exhibiting her paintings in the show again this year. The first painting, done in oils on canvas, is titled Dublin Landscape. Linda's painting makes one want to explore the city's pedestrian-friendly design, historic charm, and vibrant atmosphere. Her second painting is called Late Afternoon, South Dakota Hills. Linda used the deep orange colors that are so familiar to those hills and the blue of the open sky. Linda's style of her paintings is very distinctive and lets her create these wonderful work. Anne Delgrand painted the perfume atomizer in oils. This was an assignment that Anne had as a student in the Evolve Art School, an online art educational program. Evolve offers a rigorous program employing a unique approach of contemporary methods built upon the traditions of the old masters. Anne Delgrand's second painting is called After Practice, and this has a clarinet and music in the picture. This style of painting is called realism. Deb Sinopolis' painting is titled Majestic. The vase with the mosaic design in front holds a large bouquet of flowers. This is also painted in acrylics. Deb Sinopolis' painting is called Leona. This painting is done in acrylics as well. From her pose, this figure with her long feathers, she appears to be a goddess, and she appears to be looking toward the sky. Mary Healy's second painting is titled Freefall and was done in acrylics. The paint feels like it's flowing on its own down the panel, creating a very vibrant and unique painting. This is Sharon DeLorme's second painting in the show, and it's titled Farm in the Dell. In this large painting, Sharon is again featuring her favorite subjects, farms and barns. This is another lovely painting with a scene so inviting and that one would like to spend the day there. Sharon's paintings are very popular in our community. Jim Horsford is sharing with us another example of his artwork. This piece is a woodcut of a baby elephant. A woodcut is a relief printmaking technique where an artist carves a design into a block of wood, leaving the raised parts to be inked and pressed onto paper, while the cutaway areas remain blank. The technique produces distinct characteristics in the print, such as varying lines of thickness and a somewhat rough texture due to the nature of carving wood. You can see this rough texture especially in the trunk of the baby elephant. Sharon McDonald's photo, titled Seeing Red Number 1, is a photo with a story. Sharon's partner loved this little red car. Sharon smiled when she watched him get into the car and drive down the road. She could say that the car suited him well, but this was no longer the man that she had known for 49 years, a dancer and actor whose roles included Billy Bigelow in Carousel, a muleteer in the original Broadway production of Man of La Mancha, and Billy the Kid in Agnes DeMille's famous ballet. When he passed in 2022 at the age of 89, Sharon began to notice red cars everywhere. Seeing Red Number 1 is the first of the series of photographs of red cars. Sharon walked out of the post office in Stockbridge and couldn't believe her eyes when she saw this unusual lineup of cars on Elm Street. Cindy Mathias is presenting two beautiful photographs. The title is Impressions on the first one. The daffodils are leaving their impressions against the wet glass, creating a stunning image which Cindy was able to capture. Cindy Mathias's second photo is titled Confetti. Confetti is a way of saying that something awesome is happening, and it's time to celebrate and have fun. And the same is happening for Cindy with her photos. The bold colored tulips make you want to celebrate and have fun. Cindy is a photographer who is driven to capture the abstract in nature and its compositional possibilities. Her current work includes botanicals, landscapes, waterscapes, reflections, and whatever she is moved by at the moment. Cindy's work has been shown in galleries across Berkshire County. Roberta Rhodes painted Red Barn. We have another view of a barn, this time in watercolor. This painting of the Red Barn in summer has a field of flowers in front. It's always interesting to see how different artists view a certain object. Amy Shermer shares a painting that is untitled and done in mixed media. This painting has a vase filled with flowers of all kinds and colors, all kinds of colors, sitting on a white doily. And now we'll enter the kids' corner. Kate Mayotte created the Cat's Play Date using markers. Kate is 8 years old, and Kate did a wonderful job on this piece. The next piece was done by Evelyn Mayotte, age 17, and this piece is Abused Imposter, AI, and this is made from upcycled mixed media sculpture from items supplied by Aaron Mayotte, and this is a very unique, scary piece. And then we have Aaron Mayotte's painting, The Wave, and Aaron used watercolors to create this piece. And now I'd like you to meet Caroline Young, one of our exhibitors, and Caroline is actually wearing her exhibit and her artwork. Caroline is a costumer, and Caroline is also a corporator at the Lee Library, and she has designed this beautiful outfit and created it. And so now I'll let Caroline tell you about it.
Okay. This is the sort of outfit that women who were really, really seriously protesting to get the right to vote marched in. They marched in big cities, big parades, and they always wore the white outfits and carried banners and had these things on them, whatever they call these things. And they struggled for a long time to get the right to vote, and now when we have an administration that is talking about revoking the 19th Amendment, I feel that we need to remember what these women went through to get the right to vote. After World War I, where they had participated and had really earned the right to be citizens and to be treated like citizens, and were not treated like citizens. That was the inspiration for this. Fabrics in that period were most likely wool, maybe cotton, but most likely wool for stuff like this. Linen would have been used also. It's a dress with a jacket and decorated any way that a designer would find it necessary to decorate it with. The hats were much smaller than they had been before. The hat pin holding it on, because you had to have a way to hold it on or it would blow away. Always gloves. The high buttoned shoes, some more fancy than these. You can't get them this way. With the buttons on them anymore. You can get the laces, but not the buttons. And the fashion in this period really began with women beginning to realize that they needed to change their lives. The corsets, they still wore corsets under these, but they weren't the ones that did the 18-inch waists and forcing women into tiny little, rather unusual shapes. So they wanted the more of the straight line. The hem is much shorter. They weren't dragging around in the dirt. And these were all things that women needed to do with their fashion to be able to function in the early 20th century. Fashion always follows the design of architecture and fine arts as kind of a big unit. And you can often get a sense of when things were manufactured or when they were fashionable by that silhouette, that line of either the dresses or the buildings.
So would you like to give us a little fashion show here?
All right. Now you would have been marching with a bunch of other women and screaming and yelling.
Sounds like fun.
Well, we have done this in our generation, but this was for something very basic. Civil rights.
I hope you have enjoyed our tour, and I want to especially thank CTSB for filming our Creatively programs, and they've been doing it for nearly 23 years. And I would also like to thank the Board of Directors of the Lee Library, and especially Sue Hosford for organizing this whole event. Thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next year.